The Synerjy Conservatory from Trade Price Conservatories, the easy way to build your own conservatory. Building your Synerjy Conservatory in 5 easy steps. Please ensure you follow all the relevant health and safety guidelines when installing your conservatory and use PPE as appropriate. We advise you wear gloves when handling aluminium or glass, safety goggles when drilling and a hard hat when working at height or when elements of the conservatory will be above shoulder height. The basic tools required are plastic or rubber mallet, spanner or socket, big screwdriver, tape measure, saw, G-clamps, snips, 6.5mm masonry drill bit and 4mm metal drill bit, 5mm Allen key, T30 Torx drive, drill driver, silicone gun, putty knife, plastic glazing shovel and a spirit level. Please refer to the installation guide for the full list of tools you will need. Step 1. Preparation and fitting the sill. Visually check all the components, including the glass, against the delivery note provided. If fitted, remove the plastic transport blocks at the bottom of the window and door frames. Unwrap the doors and unscrew the keys from inside the door sashes. Unlock the doors and lift off their sashes and place them in a safe area. Unwrap the windows and remove the keys from inside the sashes. Check that the windows open and close freely and put all the keys in a safe place. Measure the dwarf wall or base to ensure it is the correct size. Measure the width front and rear, the projection, and finally measure the diagonals to confirm the base is square. Please note the diagonal measurements should be identical. Also, measure any door openings, wall returns and the height of the dwarf wall. Ensure the brickwork is level and the walls are plumb. We advise setting the frames up in the order you'll install them, leaving frame 1 at the front. Fitting the sill. Measure 100mm from the front face of the brickwork and put a pencil mark. This is where the back of the sill mitre will sit. Place the sill on the dwarf wall with the outside edge overhanging by 50mm. Now draw a pencil line along the back edge of the sill. And using a spirit level, draw a vertical line on the house wall. Place the return sill on the dwarf wall with the outside edge overhanging by 50mm, then draw a pencil line along the back edge. Step 2. Fitting the frames. Synerjy windows are fitted in order. Starting with window 1, lift the window frame onto the sill, sliding it up to and along the rear lip of the sill until it is flush with the house wall. Drill pilot holes through the frame using the 4mm metal drill bit, then drill into the house wall with the 6.5mm masonry drill bit. Start with fixings 150mm from the frame ends and at intervals of no more than 400mm apart. Fix the frames to the house wall with the supplied masonry fixings. If your walls are unlevel, please ensure you pack behind the frames to avoid pulling the frames out of square. Fix the frame to the sill using 2 screws, each one approximately 150 mm back from the frame ends. Fit the inline H coupler and tap into place. Lift the next frame into place and slide into the inline H coupler. Tap into place with a rubber mallet, then clamp together, ensuring a tight fit. Screw the frames together, fixing 150 mm from the frame ends and at intervals of no more than 400 mm apart. Superglue along the edge of the corner joint which fits onto the return sill. Fix it on the return sill and slide into place to create the sill corner. Please note, only one side needs to be glued. Now fit the corner post, ensuring that each post lip is to the outside of the window frames. Clamp in place, then screw the frame to the corner post, fixing 150 mm from the frame ends and at intervals of no more than 400 mm apart. Fit the return window in the same way. Fix the side frame to the sill using 2 screws, each one approximately 150 mm back from the frame ends. Tap the return sill until it is flush with the dwarf wall. Then fix the return frame to the sill using 2 screws. Seal the bottom edge of the frame to the sill with silicone. Fit the inline H coupler and tap into place. Repeat this process for the windows on the opposite side of the conservatory. Measure the door aperture and mark the door sill 5 mm less than the overall width. This is to accommodate the door sill ends. Cut the door sill. Using superglue, fix the door sill ends in place. Measure and mark 100 mm back from the outer wall edge. Place the door sill in line with the mark. Drill and fix in place using the supplied masonry fixings at approximately 150 mm from the sill ends and at intervals of no more than 400 mm apart. Lift the door frame into place, ensuring it meets the sill lip. Slide into the inline H coupler and tap into place with a rubber mallet, then clamp together, ensuring a tight fit. Screw the window frame to the door frame, fixing 150 mm from the frame ends and at intervals of no more than 400 mm apart. Repeat this on the opposite side. Screw the door frame to the sill 150mm back from the frame ends and at intervals of no more than 400mm apart. Drill 6.5mm pilot holes through the door frame and into the dwarf wall. Fix in place with the supplied masonry fixings. Use 2 fixings on each side, spaced as shown. Drill 6.5mm pilot holes through the window frames and sills into the dwarf wall and fix in place with the supplied masonry fixings at approximately 150mm from each frame upright. Repeat for the windows on the opposite side. Step 3. Fitting the roof, the gutter and the trims. The first job is to fit the eaves beam. Lay the eaves beams on the floor and tap open all the turnbuckles. Carefully place the eaves beam, making sure the back leg sits against the window frame on the inside of the conservatory. Clamp the eaves beams into position. Making sure they meet at the corners. When sighted correctly, use the eaves beam external connector to screw the eaves beams together. Repeat on the opposite corner. Clamp each eaves beam close to the turnbuckle, then tap the turnbuckle to the closed position before removing and reusing the clamp to secure each turnbuckle. Once the eaves beam is locked in place, secure the internal corner fixing connectors as shown. Insert the rafter support keys, shown here, into the ends of the PVC support sections, located at the top of the eaves beam. These can be slid along their track as needed to fit the rafter bars. The supplied roof diagram will show you which numbered rafter bar fit each position on the roof. Next, fit the rafter bar end caps in place. Please note that the different types of rafter bar have different end caps. Make sure you fit the end caps to the right end of the bars. The fixing bolt should be roughly 100mm from the end that needs the rafter end cap. Push fit the caps and fix with the supplied screws. Then, using snips, trim off the screw cap cover. Finally, cover the screw with either the covers you have just trimmed off or the alternative supplied. Now, place the rafter bars in place for ease of fitting. Offer the hip rafter into position and locate in place using the fixing bolt. Fix in place by tightening the nut. Next, fit the jack rafters in place. These will support the hip rafters. Using a large screwdriver, carefully ease the locating spring on the hip rafter onto the clip on the side of the jack rafter. Then repeat on the other side. It's now time to fit the ridge. At this stage of fitting, the ridge will need supporting at the house wall end. We suggest using a ladder as an extra pair of helping hands. Silicone the spacers onto the hip rafters. Carefully offer up the ridge into position and bolt the hip rafters into place. The other rafters can now be fitted. Make sure the bolts are nice and tight using a spanner or socket. Check the ridge is level and make any necessary adjustments before fixing the wall rafters in place using the supplied masonry fixings. Place the first fixing roughly 150 mm from the top of the wall rafter, one in the middle and one roughly 150 mm from the eaves beam. Tap the gutter brackets in place on the eaves beam on all three sides of the conservatory, locating the gutter brackets at equal distances along each side. Fit the end stops as shown. Hinge the gutter in place so that the gutter brackets are concealed within the gutter. Fit the gutter and corners as shown. If you haven't already done so, remove the protective tape from the top of the window frames, ready to fit the frame gutter clad. Tap this into place at the top of the windows to cloak under the gutter. Trim as required. Fit the corner gutter trim as shown. Cut the gutter trim to fit where it meets the wall and silicone in place. Next, peel back a little way the protective film from the adhesive tape on the PVC-U glazing support trim located at the top of the eaves beam. Leave this tucked behind the eaves trim. Unpack the polycarb sheets. Fit the polycarb end trims, making sure the breather holes, shown here, will face downwards. These simply slide into place. Remember to make sure the holes are on the underside. Check the roof plan for each polycarb location. Peel off the protective film, then fit them in place. Locate at the ridge end and push into place. Repeat for the other panels. Please note, the middle panel is left open for access. Fit the hip top cap in place and tap into position with a rubber mallet. Slide the numbered top caps into position so they are a snug fit to the rafter end caps. Repeat on all the rafters, apart from those to either side of the panel left open for access. Using the access panel, tap the top of the rafter cappings in place. Apply a neat silicone seal round the jack rafters where they meet the hip rafters. Now it's time to fit the ridge end foam bungs. These push into place around the ridge end. Generously seal around all the joints at the ridge end using silicone sealant. Please note that as our installation was in a studio setting, we didn't apply silicone, but please follow the guide on screen as to the areas you need to cover. Silicone the wall end of the ridge cover and slide the ridge flashing trim in place. Apply more silicone to the channel to ensure a perfect seal. Now, drill pilot holes through the ridge flashing trim and ridge cover, and secure using the supplied plastic rivets. Slide the ridge cresting into place and wipe off any excess silicone. Trim off excess plastic to the underside of the ridge top cap as shown. Now, silicone the finial end of the ridge cover and slide fit the ridge top cap before siliconing the joint as shown. Drill and fit the plastic rivets to secure the ridge top cap, in the same way as for the wall end of the ridge cover. Wipe off excess silicone as before. Slide the final section of cresting in place and silicone the end of the joint. Finally, screw the finial in place. To fit the ridge cover, locate along the aluminium ridge at the house wall end. Tap to fix into place using a plastic or rubber mallet. Silicone seal the rafter joints as they meet the ridge top cap. Now, fit the last polycarb panel in place. Fit the remaining 2 rafter top caps. Gently bow them into position. Now, from inside of the conservatory, remove the protective film from the adhesive tape that you peeled back earlier. From outside the conservatory, firmly press down on each polycarb panel to ensure a seal against the glazing support trim. Finish the gutter by fitting the downpipe. Seal around the downpipe connector with silicone as shown. Step 4. Fitting the inner trims. These ridge channels enable you to run electric cables or hang a light fitting from the ridge. These simply tap in place. Place 2 channels together where you want to put a light fitting. When positioned, screw them in place using the supplied screws. Fit the ridge capping by simply tapping into place. We suggest fitting this component after all necessary wiring has been fitted. Alternatively, make a note of where the support channels are before fitting the capping. Now, push fit the radius end bottom cap in place. Ensure you use the correct fixing lugs, which will vary by roof type. The eaves clad corner joints insert as shown, ready for you to clad the eaves beam. This simply taps into place. Slide the next sections into place to complete the eaves beam cladding. To finish, peel off the protective film. Step 5. Glazing the windows, fitting the doors and sealing the conservatory. Ensure that you wear non-slip gloves when handling the glazing units. Place the sealed units in the order you are going to fit them, taking care to avoid breakages. Each unit is labelled, showing which side goes to the outside, where the unit fits within the frame, and the unit size and number. Using a putty knife, carefully remove the window beads. Position them in the order they are removed, as they need to be replaced in the same order. Using a brush, clean the window channels of any debris. Bridge and glazing packers are supplied. Place black bridge packers at the base with a white packer on top. Carefully place the sealed unit into position, making sure it sits evenly on both the white glazing packers. Insert the side packers. Carefully tap in the head bead. Followed by the bottom bead. These should click into place. Then install the left and right beads, working methodically. Continue to fit the next glazing unit. If you are having trouble getting the beads to fit, apply a spray of glass cleaner to the sealed unit. This will stop the rubber gasket sticking to the glass. If you need to reposition the sealed unit, use a plastic glazing shovel to avoid damage to the units. Fit the rest of the glazing units in the same way. Once all the glazing units are in place, you can remove the protective film from the sills. Trim and fit the sill end caps using superglue. Now, hang the doors. The door sashes simply slide down into place. Locate all the hinges in line and lower into position. Glazing the doors. Prepare the door glazing units and remove the protective tabs. Carefully remove the door beads. Position them in the order they are removed, as they need to be replaced in the same order. Packing the doors. The packers should be placed as shown. Add a bead of silicone to the areas to be packed. This will hold the packers in place. Place black bridge packers onto the silicone as shown. Please note that a black packer is also required next to the handles and all locking positions. Carefully place the seal unit into the door sash. Using a glazing shovel, place 2 white packers on top of the black bridge packer at the base, as well as at the top of the sealed unit. Repeat for the vertical bead on the hinge side. Check the door clearance. If you need to adjust the door clearance, deglaze the sash and pack the glass, adding white packers at the bottom of the sealed unit to raise the glass to its correct position. Finally, pack at the lock side of the door and replace the beads as shown. Check the door clearance. Lock the first door in position and repeat this process on the other door. There should be no need to adjust the doors, but if required, The Synerjy system door hinge has a wide range of adjustment in 3 directions, ensuring perfectly operating doors. Simply use an Allen key to adjust. Silicone the outside of the conservatory, down the door frame, under the sill, and down the side of the window frames where they meet the house walls. Finally, silicone inside the conservatory, along the sill lip, down the frame corners, along the roof rafter, and the window frames where they meet the house wall. Now, stand back and enjoy the Synerjy conservatory that you've just built. The Synerjy Conservatory from Trade Price Conservatories. The easy way to build your own conservatory.